Hi there, salesman. This is Kat Jack, and I'm here to help you make those fat stacks. And today's topic is your precious energy, how to guard it, how to build it, and how to maintain it. Now, let's get into it. In the phone sales game, it is all about the volume of presentations that you can give in a given day and keeping those presentations high quality. Now, that takes a lot of energy. So, how do you guard and maintain that energy over the course of your day so you can focus on your grind and get the absolute maximum amount of sales possible? That's what we're here to discuss today. Today, you're going to learn the habits, the methods, and the mindset to start your shift with high energy and how to guard and maintain it right through the end. As with so many things in sales, the work you put in before work, outside of the regular workday, is the most important work that you do. So, starting from the very beginning, did you get a good night's sleep? Yes, you need to get a good night's sleep. When you wake up in the morning, did you eat a good breakfast? Don't skip breakfast. If you're one of those people who says, oh, all I need is my cup of coffee and I'm good until lunch, you're wrong. Your body can't actually run on coffee. You need to give yourself something that you can actually work with. You need to give your brain some fuel. This is a highly demanding job when it comes to your intellect and your brain power. So don't neglect feeding your brain something good. On the subject of feeding your brain good things, not just good food, but are you consuming positive media? Most of us, when we get up in the morning, the first thing we do, we grab our phones, right? So what is it you're consuming when you grab your phone first thing in the morning? Are you doom scrolling? Are you checking social media? Are you giving yourself a hard time about your social media, your lack of notifications? Are you comparing yourself to others? Are you consuming the news? I highly recommend avoiding the news at all costs. It's not your friend. The news makes its money by keeping your attention, and they have worked out quite some time ago that keeping you afraid is the best way to keep your attention. So they're not there to put you in a good mood. They're there to make you nervous so that you watch more of it. And that's not going to give you the best mindset that you need through the day. Now, I'm not saying remain ignorant on purpose. I'm not saying keep yourself uninformed, but consume as little of it as possible. I literally recommend less than 5 minutes. Anything you learn about that's terrible on the news, you can't really do anything about anyway. You're not going to be the guy to solve the problem. The best thing you can do is keep your mindset healthy, consume good things, go out and make a positive impact on the world with your sales. All right, so you got a good night's sleep. You've eaten a good breakfast, you kept your caffeine to a minimum, and now you're in the middle of your day. Now, if you are working on the sales floor and you're in what I like to call the cube farm, you've got a bunch of other cubicles around, you've got salesmen walking around, you've got people on their headsets, you've got that one guy that likes to come into the office and lean on your desk and, make up some meaningless chit chat. If you're in one of those environments, you need to be very mindful of all those distractions around you and make sure that you're not falling victim to those distractions. Anybody who's coming into your workspace to take you off of the phone, to distract you from making your maximum volume of presentations, you need to treat those people and those situations like they are reaching into your pocket and taking money out of it, because they literally are. It all comes down to the number of presentations that we can make. We all have a given close rate, whether your close rate is 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever your close rate is. The only way to maximize on that close rate is to make a higher volume of presentations. So anything or anyone who is coming to reduce your volume of presentations, be mindful of that and guard yourself against it. Be very territorial about your workspace. You can do it without being rude, but just explain to people during the workday, I'm here to work. So if you need to talk to me, send me an email. If you need to talk to me, you're going to have to wait until before work, after work, or on a break. If I am in my cube and I am working, then that is it. You do not come in here. You need to set really hard boundaries around your day, or everything and everyone is going to be coming in to distract you and take that money out of your pocket. And anytime that you're taken off of the phone or somebody distracts you, they are using some of that finite energy that we're here to talk about today. They are taking it for themselves and they're giving you nothing back. So be very guarded about that. You also want to be very mindful and self-aware of your own energy when you're on a call. If you're on the phone with somebody and they're not really playing ball, you're asking them discovery questions and they're just like really hesitant, do your best, dig in, stick to your process, just like we always talk about. That's what the process is there to do, is to help guide you through those more difficult phone calls. But if you're noticing your own energy dipping down, if you're working with somebody over the line who is you're talking to a combative prospect or somebody who's just really not picking up what you're laying down. They're really not feeling you, and you're starting to feel your own energy dip. You're starting to feel your own mood dip. The best way to end that call is to ask them to buy. Get out of there as quickly as possible. Always ask them to buy. Sometimes you'll get the sale. But if you're starting to feel like, hey, this isn't going anywhere and this person is just an energy vampire and they're sucking the life out of me right now, and you're starting to feel your mood dip, it's very hard to recover from a mood dip. And the best way to recover from it is to not experience it in the first place. The best way to manage it is to manage those dips. So when you start to feel yourself in the middle of a call, do everything you can to try to pull out of it, bring the energy up. But if that prospect isn't feeling it, don't have any shame about ending the call. Ask them to buy. They're probably going to say no if they're being stodgy the whole time. You're already prepared for that. That's not a surprise. And then move on to the next call. Your energy is very precious. It is very finite. And if you give it away in a call that isn't going anywhere anyway, and in the end, it makes you feel worse about yourself, you're having a worse day at the end of it, that's going to take energy away from future presentations that might have a higher chance of closing in the first place. So be very guarded about that and be choosy about where you spend that energy. The next thing you're going to want to do when you're in the middle of a call is to get up and move around often. So I'm not talking about all day long. It's hard you can't click to dial if you're not there to click. But once you've got one on the line, you've conducted a really good discovery, right? You've got all your discovery questions. You really understand what features and benefits you need to present to this person. And you know your features and benefits well enough. You're not on a script anymore, right? Once you have all that information, this is a good time to get up and move around. At the time when it's your turn to talk, not during the discovery, but when it's your turn to talk and present your features and benefits, I highly recommend getting up and moving around. If you don't have a wireless headset, invest in a wireless headset. Get something that will give you some freedom of movement. Motion creates emotion. Okay. And sales is an emotional business. You need to bring them on the ride with you. You need to get them feeling something. Okay. It's the emotion that makes the sale pretty much no matter what the product is that you're selling. So if you can get up, if you can move around, if you can move your hands around a little bit, you only have your voice when you're selling over the phone. You just have your voice and your inflection and your energy to communicate with that person, to connect with that person on the other end of the line. Motion creates emotion. So get up, move around. It's also going to break up a lot of the monotony of your day. It's going to make your day go by a lot faster. If you just lock yourself in your own cube and you're not getting up and moving around, it's going to make the day drag on. If you're somebody like me who does all their selling from home, get up and move around. Move around when you're giving your features and benefits. Sometimes in between calls, get up, do a couple of jumping jacks, do some push-ups, do whatever you need to do to get the blood flowing. Because as you start to stagnate, your voice is going to start to stagnate. So get up and move around often and feel that energy rise. The prospects are going to feel that energy through the phone and you are going to make more sales. All right, you've made it to the end of the shift. It's been a highly productive day. You've made the maximum number of presentations that you can make in a given day. And that's going to vary for all of us depending on what type of product we're selling, what company we're working for, but you've had a successful day. You've closed a few deals, you're feeling good about yourself, and now the shift is over. Now, what are we going to do about it? Now, a lot of the salesmen that I've known over the years are going to do some very typical salesman things. They're going to get off work. They're going to pat themselves on the back for making a bunch of money. They're going to head out to the bar or they're going to head out to the club. That is very easy to do, especially in a place I spent a lot of time selling, a place like Las Vegas. That's not always going to be your best course of action. Now, I'm not saying you need to live like a monk, okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't go out and have fun, but especially if it's a school night, kids, if you know that you have to work tomorrow, I don't recommend going out and getting sloshed. Have a drink, have a cocktail, enjoy a little bit of time with your comrades, with your fellow salesmen. I do believe in camaraderie. I believe in those team building moments that make you feel closer to each other, but don't go out and get hammered. I have a lot of salesman friends who 3 out of 5 work days, they're showing up kind of hungover. They've got their sunglasses on in their cubicle and they're just like, ugh. And they get through it. If you've got talent, you can get through the day like that and kind of push through it and stop feeling nauseous around lunch and then maybe get 1 or 2 high quality presentations in by the end of the day. But even if, let's say that hungover salesman comes in, drags their feet for the first part of the day, makes 1 to 2 good presentations, if your close rate is 10 or 15%, you might not even have sold that day. So you made no money that day. Whereas if you came in ready to work and you were able to make 10 presentations like you normally are when you're not hungover, well, you're going to close a deal or 2. Now that's a day that's not wasted. Taking good care of yourself after work really matters. So try not to get hammered. It sounds obvious, but I can't tell you how often I have to give my coaching clients that advice. Like, hey, you might be partying too hard. Remember, guys, part of the reason we're in sales, of course, it is to make those fat stacks and to live the kind of lifestyle that you get to live when you make big, giant wads of money. But be mindful of the way that you're spending that money. Yes, that big fat stack of cash, those nice commissions, they do afford you to go out and have a really nice time at the bar or at the nightclub. And you should probably do that once in a while if it's a thing that you want to do. But be careful. I would put it to you this way. Are you spending your money on yourself in such a way that is going to take money out of your pocket later? Are you putting yourself in a worse condition to make sales later? Are you expending energy right now that you're going to have to pay back on your next work day because you've not taken very good care of yourself? Then you're not really in the money making mindset. You're in the money spending mindset, and they're not always the same thing. So take good care of yourself after work. Okay. If it's time to party, hopefully it's a Friday or a Saturday night, not a Tuesday. Make sure that you've got the time to recover if you are going to party hard. And on school nights, guys, make sure that you're taking good care of yourself. This kind of goes back to what I was saying about what to do before work. You're going to want to make sure that you hydrate. Make sure that you eat a good dinner. Make sure you get to sleep at a reasonable hour, and make sure you're not on your phone doom scrolling until 2 or 3 a.m. We've all done it, but it's not what's going to be best for you. If you're serious about making the most out of your sales career, you have to treat yourself a little bit like an athlete. The work you put in outside of the actual game, outside of the main event, is most of the work that goes into making you excellent during the main event. And if you have that mindset, if you treat yourself in that way, guard your energy as though it is precious and finite, because it is both of those things, and live your life in such a way that you're always ready to show up to work and give your absolute best performance, you're going to naturally make a lot more money than you would have if you just came in on autopilot and didn't eat your breakfast and pounded coffee all day and just kind of, went through the motions. If you've got a reasonable amount of talent, you can make a decent living that way. But we're not here to make a decent living. Okay. If you're here on my channel, if you're listening to my podcast, you did not come here to aim for the middle. We came here to go right to the top. We want Chairman's Circle. We want President's Club. We came to aim for that number one spot. You need to act like you're aiming for that number one spot. That's where those fat stacks are. Alrighty, guys. So what are our key takeaways here? Number one, your energy is finite. Protect it at all costs. What you do outside of work matters. It absolutely matters. My grandpa always used to say it's all about the 7 Ps. What were the 7 Ps again? Proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. Yeah, that was it. He was a firefighter, so I'm pretty sure he knew what he was talking about. Make sure you take really good care of yourself outside of work. Make sure you do the preparation in the morning to get yourself ready for the day so that you can go out there and put on your absolute best performance and make the fattest stacks possible. Again, during the workday, protect yourself from negative calls. If you are on the phone with somebody where you're feeling your mood dip, it's not a good presentation, you kind of know it's not going anywhere, end the call as quickly as possible. Of course, the best way to do that is to ask them to buy. If you get the deal, great. If they shut you down, perfect. Move on to the next so you can save your energy for a more productive call. Again, movement is your friend. Motion creates emotion. Make sure you're getting up during your presentations when you're giving your features and benefits. Do a little pacing, bounce a ball if you need to, move your hands, make some faces. Do whatever you need to do to create that motion. Motion creates emotion, and that's going to keep your energy moving throughout the day and keep that energy conveyed throughout that phone call. And aftercare, guys, of course, aftercare. Make sure after work you're taking really good care of yourself. You're eating a good meal. You're getting to sleep on time. You're not consuming a bunch of negative media. It's all about the basics, guys. Experts practice the fundamentals. The best in any line of work are always those who practice the fundamentals. So that's been today's message for you guys. Make sure you're practicing those fundamentals and maintaining that energy. Alrighty, guys, that does it for me here today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you feel that you've gotten any value out of any of the things that I've shared today, why don't you consider heading on over to the different social media channels that I've got. Head over to see Cat Jack Coaching at TikTok, Cat Jack Coaching on Instagram. Of course, subscribe Cat Jack Coaching over on YouTube, and of course here on the podcast. Also head on over to catjackcoaching.com to see the blog, more free content, and to schedule your first one-on-one with me free consultation. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for keeping it here with me. Go on out there, make those fat stacks.